What's up, glorious, glorified community? Welcome back to another Path to Glory podcast. I'm Umar Farouk here from Glorify, the only e-commerce focused design tool built for you guys, built for entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Path of Glory. Really excited about this episode as we have another super special guest with us today, Uri Abramson. Really excited about him being with us. He has an education background in computer science and business, graduated with a Bachelor of Science from magna cum laude. He is a top-notch developer with amazing leadership skills and technical understanding in project management and running a company. Now, where do you think all of these skill sets led him? Well, he is a great example of using education and core skill set to break the status quo versus conforming to it, to be honest. And he took those skills and founded multiple startups. An experienced VP and R&D with a demonstrated history of working in the financial tech industry. He's a co-founder of Post Studio for Shopify. We're going to hear more about that in this podcast. He also co-founded Overdraft Apps in 2017, RecipeGET in 2010. And as you can see, he's an owner of a few successful online products, including an innovative banking app to be out soon, I believe. And it'd be awesome if you can speak more about that, Yuri, later. I think calling him a serial entrepreneur really is an understatement. So without further ado, let me welcome Yuri to the Path of Glory. Welcome, Yuri. It's great to have you on the Path of Glory with us today. How you been, my friend?
Hey, Omar. It's great to be here. I'm doing pretty good. It's an honor. I heard a lot about your app. I also used it quite a few times. It's really an amazing product, and I'm just excited to be here.
Thanks a lot, man. We're still working hard a way to get it to the level that we want, and we're on that path. I'm glad you gave us that feedback, man. It's great coming from you. Yeah, man. So generally, when it comes to the Path of Glory, we like to have a frank and sincere discussion about how our guests come to the position that they're in. That's why, hence, it's called the Path of Glory. We live, as you know, in a very entrepreneurial age. I think everyone, whether they're working for clients, whether they're working in a company or running their own business, I believe, are an entrepreneur in their own right. They're high-level problem solvers, and people to this day and age need to solve problems at that high level to make an impact in where they operate, right? And you seem like you've had quite a journey, and would love to hear about, what's behind the entrepreneur.
So actually, it was my dream to have my own startup ever since I was like maybe 14 or 15 years old. I'm not sure if it's kind of the standard story of what happens to people, but it was somewhat a goal of mine for a very long time. And I started to learn programming when I was still in high school. And then I joined the first startup when I was 17. We created some kind of an e-learning system with a statistics professor. It didn't go so well, but it was a very interesting experience. Israeli courses as a software developer for a couple of years. And after that, it was clear to me what I'm going to do. I just started to learning different skills, because the programming is something that I already kind of knew. But I knew that it's not enough. So I went into affiliate marketing when I was around 22 for a few years. I learned SEO, search engine marketing.
Sorry, just to cut you off there for a second. When you said 22, what year was that, if you don't mind me asking? Because it's interesting to know when.
I think it was 2009.
2009. Wow. Okay, so an early time to start getting into the affiliate marketing.
Yeah, it was pretty early.
Yeah,
we learned SEO. Me and a couple of friends of mine. And we find a couple of interesting opportunities. Back then, Google, it wasn't as easy as the really early days, but you could still find opportunities with, let's say, 100,000 searches per month that were kind of untapped. And we found an opportunity in the area of astrology. So that's kind of, unorthodox. But it's also not like we were into astrology or anything like that. If you believe it, then all good, but it's not my cup of tea anyway. But we found a really good keyword, and we built a website around that keyword. And within a couple of months, we were ranked like number 3 in the world. We were getting millions of people getting into the website, and we had around 1 million Facebook followers in a couple of years. And the business really grew to a point where when Facebook released their chatbots platform, we decided to take the audience that we already had and create a daily horoscope chatbot for them. So we did that, and it really exploded. It was the number 1 chatbot on Facebook for a really long time. We reached around 4 million monthly subscribers.
Wow,
and it just exploded, and it was all a side business. I mean, it was just something we did a couple of hours a week. It's not something I would say. It's a nice story I like to tell. So the last project and the thing that I'm investing all of my time in right now, I think this one has the most potential, and it's a product I really feel is doing good in the world. It's Post Studio. It's our Shopify app. That's called Post Studio. You can find it on the Shopify marketplace. What it does is it enables Shopify merchants to manage all of their social media in one place. So you install the app, you connect your Instagram account, your Facebook account, and your Twitter account, and you can start creating posts that are based on the data that you have in your store. So you can create an account, you can create a discount for a collection or a product you have in your store. Post Studio will take that discount, it will design a post for you automatically, and it will send this post for you to all of your social media channels automatically as well. And if you don't want to go through this manual process of telling Post Studio, okay, go ahead and create a post for me now, every time, what you can do is you can just put it on autopilot, and we will do everything for you in the background, so you don't have to deal with it anymore. We know that you are busy, you have a lot on your mind as a merchant, and social media shouldn't be such a pain in the ass for you. You can just take Post Studio and we'll handle everything for you. So it went pretty well. Today we have more than 13,000 active merchants using the platform, and we're still growing. Soon we're about to release a new version with lots of goodies. Actually, we're going to do it in 1 week. So we're going to have a lot of new features, including very easy to use video editor, manual postings, and lots of other stuff. So this is what I really believe in, and this is what I'm doing today.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like a great application, especially considering our audience, who a lot of them are into, trying to automate the design process as much as possible. I think there might be a lot of value there. And hopefully, me and Yuri are already discussing, potential collaboration there, and see if we can do some form of integration in the future, if it makes sense. But guys, do definitely check it out in the Shopify merchant. If you're using Shopify, I think there's a massive opportunity there to check out Post Studio. I had a look at it myself, and it looks like a very slick application, man. And I mean, just to kick off on that note, because you mentioned obviously you started your first kind of, would you say your first dabble in entrepreneurship was that horoscope business, right? And you mentioned also bots. When did you first start setting up bots on Facebook?
As soon as the platform came out, like once they announced
that. Do you remember exactly?
I don't remember exactly. I think that it might have been 2016.
Okay, yeah, I figured as much. And was that, what were you using? Was it ManyChat that you used to set that system up?
So I'll tell you what I did, because we had all this audience, right? We had like millions of followers. And I tried many different things on these people to see what would catch on, because you can never tell in advance. So as soon as the chatbot platform came out on Facebook, I tried to find the automatic tools to create the chatbots, just to give it a try, because I was trying multiple things in parallel. I didn't know that the chatbots were going to catch on. So yes, I did use ManyChat in the beginning. I created a very simple bot and I just let it rest. I mean, I let it work on the site for me. I didn't think it was going to explode. But after a couple of months, I checked out the website and I saw that most of the traffic was coming in from the bot all of a sudden. And that's when I realized that there is massive potential in this. And I just kind of left everything and started to develop my own bot from scratch. It took me two to 3 months together with my co-founder. And then we released it, and it was already validated. So we knew it was going to work at that point.
So when you say you made your own bot, you made a platform to create bots, or?
No, we just coded a bot. Like what ManyChat does is that they let you create chatbots without coding yourself.
Yeah.
But then the functionality you can get, I wouldn't call it limited, but you get selected features, not right. All of the. And when you code it yourself, then you're free to use everything that Facebook's offering. So as a developer, it was easier for me to just go ahead and write the code that does whatever I want.
Yeah, it's cool that you shared with us this kind of success milestone you had with bots, and I appreciate that. You're a person that tries to experiment different, because I guess marketing and trying to achieve results in digital businesses is all about experimenting. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, I think it's very hard to predict the market. You can have your assumptions. You can say that, okay, I think that people need this product. Like I have an idea. I think that people would love it and that they would use it. But the truth is that usually the ecosystem is so complex that once you release your product, things change or you learn. So it's better to release it quicker, to build a very lean or slim product, like I did with the ManyChat bot. It was enough for me to validate my idea, rather than build something massive and only after 1 year release it to the market and see that it actually doesn't meet your users' expectations. Yeah, it's not a good fit. So yeah, definitely experimenting and going marketing first. Yeah, that's the way to go. We did it with Post Studio as well. We released a very lean product in the beginning just to see whether there is a good response for it. And now we're going to release a pretty massive version, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about MVPs in a moment with you. Just to finish off the bot discussion, just because I'm curious, and I'm sure our audience is curious as well. If you're willing to share, what did that sequence look like to grow the audiences?
What do you mean? Like how did we actually get the 4 million users?
No, actually the bot. How was it set up to grow that traffic base?
How was it set up?
Like what was the flow? Obviously, maybe not in a lot of detail, but whatever you can share with us would be pretty cool.
I'll happily share it with you, because I think that sometimes the product is less important than the market. Okay, we had a very dedicated user base. They loved reading horoscopes, so don't need to be a brain surgeon in order to give them, we have a content supplier, and once the user logs on the bot, they choose their zodiac sign, and from that moment on, you're getting the horoscope once a day. Horoscope complete, or like press on read more in order to go on our website and read the rest, and that's how we got a lot of traffic, and that's how we actually made money only from ads. By the way, we didn't sell anything. I wanted to give it out for free.
Right. So it was a pure content site where people come in, checking out what you had in terms of value, in terms of content, what they want to know about their zodiac sign. That you ran ads off the back of that, and obviously made money through PPC.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. It's very inspiring to hear that in terms of, and this is a cool model, of course, to grow that user base. And I can see how the bot is super targeted at your audience, because you're literally targeting them with the content that they want to see, which makes total sense. Now let's go back into the discussion of MVP, if possible. Now you mentioned, from your history of launches, there's been a few apps that you've put out to market. I think you're working on a new app as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But Post Studio is your main application that I think you're your baby at the moment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And tell us, look, there's founders that, I'm sure that are eager to know, or people who are willing to maybe potentially found digital companies or software-based companies, I per se had with Glorify, found a gap in the market for the need of entrepreneurs being able to take the product image design process into their own hands. And we built Glorify. I'm not a developer, right?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you're a founder and a developer as well. Tell us the process of building an MVP, because did you build the application that was perfect, or did it even have bugs at all? Or was it like, when do you know you can put your application out there? What stage do you think it's right?
So there are a couple of things. First of all, you really need to figure out the core value of your idea, because you can go ahead and say, for example, that I want to build a better analytics system for Shopify merchants, right? But you still need to have like one winning feature, one or two, I don't know. It's better that I think, in my opinion, the less cluttered it is, the better. Like if you have one really good strength, it will be easier for you to put it in your messaging. It will be easier in all aspects, to sell it, to build it, everything, and to test it. So first of all, I'm trying to figure out what is this one core feature. I'm talking to my clients. So in the beginning, my co-founder and we actually flew to the Shopify convention to Unite before we had anything. We had a rough idea. We started to hacking it out, but it was still very early. So we talked to a lot of merchants, app developers, to Shopify personnel. We got to a couple of Shopify C-level executives that were willing to meet us because of our background. It was really nice. So they gave us sincere feedback about the app, about the future of Shopify. And we took all this information together and turned it into one core value, which was back then easy posting to all social media channels for Shopify merchants. And then we created a really simple product. I mean, you can check it out. It has like 1 or 2 pages. All you can do is connect your social media accounts, and it starts to post on your behalf. And we saw that the traction was amazing. We grew really quickly. And then we started to work on the new version, but the core value still remains. That's easy social media management for Shopify merchants.
Yeah. So you're really solving, you're finding a problem that is a genuine problem that entrepreneurs or your target market is having. You validate the idea, I can see that, and then you built a super basic version of that product first, right? It's awesome to see that you got the traction that you guys deserve now. My curiosity was, when you first launched that product, was there any struggles with launching? Like what kind of barriers did you face, if any, going through that process of setting up the product on Shopify, launching it, customer feedbacks, any other issues that you may experience?
Yeah, we did have a couple of issues, to be honest. Most of them were on the technical side. The Shopify platform was, like, I hate to say it, but it was really shitty. At least back then. I hope they did a couple of improvements by now, but it's really hard to build on top of that. I tried speaking with their technical teams more than one time, to say the least. I really reached out to them. We had chats. Like, they have real issues in their platform. It's just not built out right. They made a couple of recommendations of how you should build out the app, and they posted an open source code that you can just take and build on top of that. Lots of people are using this code. I spoke to the developer of this code, and she told me that it was never their intention that it would become an official example. So just so that you get the picture of how things work there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we could say the same with our experience at the moment. I do hope they improve the platform because we're very eager to get our application out there. So the technical side, and apart from Shopify, was there anything else that you, as founders of your own application, like how do you kind of, because like we launched, just as an example of us, is that we find that we really find out the problems of the application only after we launch, right?
Yeah.
Because the user adoption and then that feedback loop is super important to then us to go back and iterate.
Right.
How did you find that process?
Yeah, so Post Studio, as I said, was built out to be really simple and as automated as possible. And over time, we realized that it can be a really good solution for merchants who are like new in this zone, or maybe people who are more about drop shipping. But bigger brands and medium to large stores, they want more control over their social media. So automation is good, but it's not enough for them. And that's when we decided to add manual posting options, post designs. We're releasing a really fancy video editor right now in 1 week, so that everyone would be able to create really nice looking videos easily and use them in their manual posts. So we're expanding the platform to be a better fit for medium customers as well as larger ones.
Yeah, and your focus is always going to be Shopify. You feel that this is where the opportunity lies, right?
So this is one additional change that we made right now. We opened it up for additional platforms.
Cool.
So hopefully we're gonna get integrated soon with more than one e-commerce platform. So
awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So you've got a plan of growth and scale, which is great. I guess the next kind of area I wanted to discuss about is, because we mentioned about when you believe the MVP is ready. Is it safe to say that launching Post Studio was an MVP, yet you charged for it at that time? Is it good for an entrepreneur to launch an MVP yet charge at the same time, or is it better to have an open beta for free? What do you think is better?
Okay. I'll tell you what I think. So an MVP, it should provide you a good validation of your market fit, or at least an initial market fit. I mean, even with an MVP, it's really hard to find the perfect fit as you launch. It takes time, but it gives you the sense of what's going to happen. And part of that validation for me is also how profitable my business can become. So if I release a free product and it catches like fire, it doesn't mean I'm going to be able to make money of it. So charging for it, I think, is an important part of the validation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. With this, well, that's what we did. And to be honest, I wouldn't change anything. A lot of platforms I know in the digital space do launch open beta for whatever reason. I believe maybe they're backed by better companies that can do a lot of pre-validation for them. But as startups, as new founders, it's important to, I agree. Like, I think charging upfront, at least on a very lucrative offer, makes total sense. Is Post Studio a subscription software, or was it a one-off?
Yeah, it's subscription. It's a monthly subscription.
Yeah.
But we're still thinking about it.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome, man. So it's been really great so far. Yuri, I want to just quickly take a moment to, really thank you for being on the podcast. We're going to go on to a few last questions before we close up. But sure. I want to mention that, you've given us already tons of value in terms of the insight of, just entrepreneurship growth and ready, and especially launching an application. And I'm sure a lot of our audience would resonate with that. Let's move on to some of your other projects. I'd love to hear about what else you're doing with this amazing skill set that you have.
Sure. So I'd be happy to tell you some more stories about my past things that I did.
Sure.
Actually, there's one thing I missed. Like in 2013, I joined a startup called Traveler's Box. What we did was we were building automated kiosks, like physical machines that we set up in airport gates. And people who get back from their travels, they could deposit all of their leftover change and turn it into PayPal credit or Skype credit or whatever they wanted. So I was a founding team member in that company. We raised $15 million and we grew quite quickly. But then after 4 years, I left because I felt like it's like too big for me, and I wanted to start something of my own from scratch.
Right. So you were a co-founder in that company.
I was first employee, but I was kind of a part of the management.
Right, of course. I'm guessing, like, was there any sort of options arrangement with that kind of company?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I think that's pretty cool because I think, startups are anyway built by teams, and if you can come in if you can come in early into a startup, especially a lucrative tech company, there's opportunity for growth even if you're hired as an employee level, right? Especially during the early stage. I mean, for founders that are trying to build tech, right? And this is a question from myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of founders are out there that are actually hiring CTOs and development to join the team. Of course, in a lucrative offer with options because it's a startup, right? In cases like that, like, how do you vet someone's technical capabilities without knowing nothing about the development process?
So I think it's hard. I mean, I really think that you need experience in this area in order to get a good feeling of what's about to happen, like after you hire someone. And all you have left is like your personal instincts and intuition. But sometimes that's not enough. There are lots of things that you can do. First of all, you can ask a friend to help you, someone who's experienced, like very experienced, both in the technical aspects as well as hiring people, because these are two different things. So ask a friend to help you, or just if someone looks good to you, you can start some sort of a trial period to see if it works out. Because you know what, even if he's super smart technically, still things can, somehow not work out on the personal level. Everything can happen. So I think that the trial period is a good idea anyway.
Absolutely. Is there any kind of telltale signs of, what we should look for when we're looking for someone to partner up with, like on the tech side?
Like maybe it's important that it would be a person who already did at least like one thing of his own. If you can find someone like that helps, because it's a whole different perspective than being an employee in a company, than being a developer, like in a bigger company. Yeah. When you run your own business, you need to take into account tons of other stuff. Maybe also one more thing you can do is ask to speak to someone who already worked with him. It can also give you some signs, and don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Like it's important to put the people in a corner where they don't have an option but to tell you something bad. Like it sounds rough, but that's how it works. Just asking what's one thing you could improve. Like, you can ask directly.
One of your biggest failures per even.
Like give me an example where you had some kind of personal issues between you guys, and how did you solve it? Like if it's okay to.
That's a good question, actually. I totally agree with you there. Our hiring process, we do the same, and so I'm totally aligned there. We do a trial period, and on top of that, we usually ask the person to describe the project in their own words, and that does usually help a lot. Again, going down to the tech side, like I find there's plenty of founders like myself who don't have tech skills, as I said. Now, getting the right technical person on board. A lot of people who are building tech products or software products, they'll find that it's a very tedious process of QA and testing and making sure the damn thing works, and bugs and more bugs. And most times I think founders become QAs as much as the tech team involved, right? Now, is that a normal process? Like anyone going into building applications or trying to found their first app company, whether it's for Shopify or any other platform, like, is that a normal process?
So first of all, it's not always like that, but most of the times it is, because it actually relates to your previous question. And why am I saying that? Because the difference in cost between a developer that's 80% to a developer that's 95%. So the difference in cost, it's not 20%, it's 300%, okay? So even a small deviation in the quality of the developer you find can cause like X2, X3, or X4 damage in your time to release the product. So the quality of the developers, it's a very sensitive factor to the success and time of your project. So like, to sum up, if you have a highly skilled, highly talented developer, there can be situations where it would not be as tedious. But most of the time, it is like that, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, that's very interesting to know, coming from yourself with, you know, with these core skill sets at hand. Just to wrap up, Yuri, again, thanks a lot for being here. Would you define yourself as a CTO of your company, or what's your kind of role with your founder?
So today we're both co-CEOs. We have another additional co-founder who takes care of the development. Today, we're still developing ourselves if there are like urgencies, but we're also in charge of everything else, like the product, the marketing. We're doing everything ourselves.
Okay, so it's a lean team, I guess.
Yeah, it's really lean, and yeah, everyone knows how to do everything, so it's very flexible.
Yeah, I guess my final question is: would you recommend that when you start a startup, keep things lean?
Yeah, I really recommend to keep things lean, and
how lean, if you can describe that.
Even to the extent that if you have an option to raise money, like $1 million from a VC, and you're still in the exploration phase, like you're not sure about the product, just don't do it. Like keep it lean until you're in a phase that you want to grow.
Right. You mean don't raise the money, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, don't raise the money. If you have the option to validate it yourself, because otherwise it's a headache. It's a huge headache. It's very stressful, and you're like wasting someone else's money on things that still don't work. He's pushing you.
The pressure, right?
It can get really intense. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can imagine the pressure would be unfounded. And on top of that, you don't want to work with pressure, but rather love and passion. And I totally get that. And on top of that, you'll end up giving a big chunk of your company at that early stage, right?
Yeah. You do earn like less risk, because you don't risk your own money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bigger chunk.
Yeah. Awesome, man. It's been really, really great having you on board, Yuri. I hope we do, see you and hear about your upcoming projects in the future. Just for our audience, tell us, remind them where we can find more about you, connect with you, and perhaps connect with some of your product launches and stuff like that.
So feel free to reach out to me if you have like any questions. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Uri Abramson. You can also find the app on the Shopify App Store that's called Post Studio. You have the email there, and I'd be happy to help out anyone who has questions about anything. And thanks a lot for having me on the podcast. It was really interesting. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Yuri. There you guys have it. Glorious Glorify. I think this podcast has been very unique just because we've learned a lot about what it takes to launch a product, especially on the tech side of things, and the burden of all of those, all of the weight of launching a product when it comes to the tech side has been very much discussed in detail in this podcast. Do share it out, do share and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and keep staying glorious. We'll catch up with you guys soon. Take care. Bye.